seconds.
Is this where the damn drumming and the music kicks in?
Yeah. What is going on, everybody? Hello, and welcome to On the Pipe Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepardson, and today is Wednesday, January the 18th, 2023, years after zero now. We're in the new year, and we're almost in the new season, and we are 150 days away from going Bite GP racing. The best in the East will be decided this year at the Bite GP Series. We're 150 days away from the opening round, Father's Day weekend, June 17th. I can't wait. Hope you can't wait either, but either way, we're going to have to wait about, I'd say, a day longer than 149 days. But the time will come, and it will be here before we know it. Before we get into that, I want to thank you all, like I usually do. Thank you for listening to OTP, the source of information in the off-road world. We got a lot on the docket. We got a lot coming at you. Tonight was a really fun episode. We're going to be joined by Josh Strang here in just a little bit, and then we're joined by Johnny Girroir, JG69 Ripa. Couple really good conversations. I think that you are going to want to hear. Strang and I kind of went into it not really having an idea of what to talk about and ended up talking for almost an hour. So it's always cool to catch up with Josh. He's been on the show several times, but just as long as he's been around racing and everything that he's gone through to get to this point, it's always a super fun conversation to talk with him. And we even got viewpoints on all sorts of stuff besides just him racing in general. Talked a lot about the military. You'll find out in a minute. It was a good conversation. Johnny Girroir, stoked to see him out there on the front row, and really to see Johnny Girroir progress to become what he is now based on how he got started in the off-road world. It was cool to be able to talk to him about that. I even asked him about his first ever podium was at Snowshoe, the year Ricky Russell won it. Johnny Girroir got on a podium on a Suzuki in third place in that XC2 class. And to see Johnny Girroir that night celebrating that podium to a few championships later, 3 or 4 championships later, plus, 5 J-Day championships, and now he's on that premier KTM team. It was cool to be able to talk to him about that, especially he's moving up to the front row this year. But went in depth with Johnny about all sorts of different stuff. So that was a really fun conversation as well. Super stoked that both of these gentlemen offered their time to talk to us. And by us, I mean you and I. Me and the listeners of OTP. But as I mentioned, we are right on the verge of getting this season started. We already got stuff going on the West Coast. They probably have a little bit better weather in January than we do, although it was a mutter this past weekend. Like California damn near flooded. It got record amounts of rain, and they went racing out there for the NGPC Series, the National Grand Prix Series Championship, I guess, would be the C, not series. That's an S for those of you keeping track at home. But they are already started racing. But we are going to be started racing here in just a few weeks. Sumter, GNC, or National Enduro, is going to be coming up. And then Big Buck is the following. It's not the following weekend. I think the following weekend is the first Mid-East Hare Scramble and the first Full Gas Sprint Enduro. And then the next weekend is GNCC. I think I said it on the show before, but I will be the announcer for Mid-East Hare Scrambles this year, this year. So I will be at that one. And that's always going to be a big one. It's right in Union, South Carolina, the weekend before Big Buck, in the same town as Big Buck. So it's a good time to get a shakedown, come out, get a 2-hour race under your belt, and get prepped for Big Buck. So we'll be down there that weekend. But back to the NGPC series. That's the AMA National Championship out on the West Coast. Ryan Surratt was able to go out there and get that win aboard a Honda. So he takes the overall win there. Dare DeMartille on what else? A factory beta machine. Goes out and gets second place. And then rounding out the podium is Dante Oliveira. So that's the way it shook out down there. And then in the Pro 2 class, you got Jack Simpson taking the win in that one. Good enough for, I think it was 9th place overall. And then in the number 2 spot was none other than a fella that we know, Gus Reardon, Angus Reardon, your second place Pro 2 rider. And then Kai, I always get confused. you know what I mean, Kai. He got third place in that Pro 2 class. So Gus out there on the West Coast. Lyndon Snodgrass, the reigning and defending GNCC XC2 champion, he was out there racing as well. So they're out there hanging out, getting ready for the season to start, doing some preseason training out in Cali. So Lyndon was actually 7th place overall, so he raced the Pro class, not the Pro 2 class, but 7th place overall for Lyndon. Good to see him out there as well, but that just means racing is underway. We are going. And then once it starts, it doesn't stop until the week after Snowshoe. And then you get a little bit of a break. And then you got a couple weeks. And then you got the Bike GP series. And that's I put it like that. So you got a few weeks between Snowshoe when we go racing. But excited for that. Excited to see what is to come. Also excited that we're in a new year with Beta Motorcycles as the official manufacturer of On the Pipe podcast. Beta Motorcycles has been family owned and operated since 1905. They manufacture the finest enduro, trials, and dual sport motorcycles that are known for their premium quality and rideability. Beta motorcycles are the best looking bikes on the market, and they back it up with their superior performance. Head over to betausa.com for more information and to find available models and a dealer near you to get yours today. There was a beta demo down in South Carolina just a couple of weeks ago, and I can't tell you how many messages I got from people that were able to swing a leg over a beta and get to ride it. So hopefully we'll see more betas at a track near you. I, however, love mine, but I've talked about that a lot on the show here before. But now I, however, cannot ride my beta once again because I broke my leg in half again, which is a pretty big bummer, especially with the season getting so close to being here. This is not the time to do this. And that just led me down another train of thought that I totally forgot to do before the show, but that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, I wasn't riding a beta motorcycle or else I would have been perfectly fine because of the premium quality and rideability. I was trying to throw a Frisbee, and I slipped and went to catch myself, and when I went to catch myself, I snapped my fibula in half, the same one that I broke before. Broke the fibula in the same spot, and then I cracked my tibia all the way through in a new spot. So I'm back on crutches, back in the boot, back hanging out for just a little bit. And then, but you can rest assured that once I get healed up, I will be back swinging a leg over my beta motorcycle. This episode also, as always, brought to you in part by Zach Tussle at Raymond James Financial. Zach is a racer and a financial advisor, but you all know that because you heard the show that he was on. You've seen the results that he has put up, and you're going to go to financialadvisorsdenvernc.com to find out how he can help you. It's a wonderful time to get involved in the stock market. You don't have to have $1 million to put it in. You can get started with whatever you can afford to put in right now. But the best time to start is right now. Reach out to Zach Tussle or financialadvisorsdenvernc.com and get in touch with him that way. We have another sponsor for On the Pipe podcast, and that was the thing I just alluded to a minute ago that I forgot about until right now, but it's a screen printing company. It is my new screen printing company. That's right. I'm making t-shirts for your favorite companies, your favorite brands, your favorite race series. We're making their t-shirts. I have yet to come up with a catchy name for it or write a catchy little slogan and tagline. But if you or someone you know needs t-shirts made, shoot me a DM. Let me know. Oh, that reminds me. Big news. Burr, 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 burr. This is where I put in the buzzers. We do have an online store now. So it kind of relates with the whole me screen printing my own stuff now. It's way easy. You're not gonna remember the URL if I tell you for right now. So if you go to On the Pipe Instagram page, the link is in the bio. If you go to On the Pipe Facebook page, I posted the link there. But we have an On the Pipe page, and so or online shop, I guess I should say. I think you can actually buy it directly through Instagram. But I put a few things up there right now. We got the true OG, the OTP shirt, the ones that you all see, that is available for sale on the website right now. And also the OG hoodie. So last year when we did hoodies, we had a ton of people get them, and everyone that didn't get them, everyone that didn't get them has asked me about them. And so here they are. Last year we did a pre-order. We got it all together. I broke my leg while we were doing that, so it ended up being a really long delay on the hoodies. Sorry again about that for everyone that got one. This year, instead of doing the pre-order, we have an online store. So you can directly go and order it, and then it will get shipped directly to you. And it is the same style of hoodie. It's the same brand of hoodie. So if you had one last year, then you know how quickly it became your favorite hoodie, because they are the softest, highest quality. I'm telling you, it's going to be your favorite hoodie. Bar none, hands down. Because they're super soft, and they're kind of like, they're lightweight. So they keep you warm, but also they're not like a heavy one. So like when it's a cool day, that in between, like too cold to take a hoodie off, but too hot with a hoodie on, this is going to be your go-to hoodie because it is perfect for all conditions. And you can find it right now. It's my Shopify, or on the pipe podcast.myshopify.com, or you just go to the link in the bio in my Instagram page, go to our Facebook page, do whatever you want, click it on there. And then I also got 2 new styles of crew neck hoodies. So, well, not hoodies because they don't have a hood. Hoodies without a hood, crew neck sweatshirts. It's the same material. It's the same thickness. It just doesn't have a hood. There's a black camouflage one, and there's a regular camouflage one. And I think they're pretty sick. Oh, and we got a baseball tee. So, like, the tee is white, and then the sleeves are long sleeve black, and it's got the logo in black. They're pretty cool. Check them out. Go to the link in bio. Check them out. Also, if you don't want to check out on there, I put in a shipping thing just so you know. It costs me more to ship than what the shipping cost on the site, but it is what it is. I don't want to make it more expensive for anybody, but that is costing me a little bit to ship them, but it's fine. Completely fine. I'll split shipping with you. No, not a problem. But if you don't want to pay shipping and you don't want to do it that way, shoot me a message, and I will be at every Mid-East Hair Scramble, and I will be at every Bike Grand Prix, and I'll be at most GNCCs. And, yeah, so if you want to pick one up from me at the race, just let me know. We can handle it elsewhere. But the site is there to kind of make it easier, and then we're going to update it. We're going to add some stuff as we go. So new styles, new designs, stuff like that as it comes out. So check it out. Link in our bio or on the pipe podcast.myshopify.com. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of stuff going on. One thing, I meant to do this at the beginning. I meant to do it in the last show. I'm going to do it now. We're going to give out some T's and P's to some of our racing family. JoJo Cunningham, although I do blame him for me re-breaking my leg. That's neither here nor there. He did re-break his leg as well. So last year, and by last year I mean 2021, but the end of 2021, I compound fractured my tib fib December 4th. And then it was January, I don't know the exact date, JoJo, but like a month later, JoJo broke his femur in half. So we both got rods in our leg. We both went through the year recovering. We both were finally getting back on track and ready for everything to come. And then we see that JoJo's fallen, broken his same leg around the rod. And then it was just 6 days later, a few days later, is when I re-broke my leg. So JoJo and I broke leg buddies. We stick together. When one breaks their leg, the other breaks their leg out of support. So T's and P's for JoJo Cunningham, healing through that injury once again. And then also Taylor Jones. Taylor Jones is in the need for some serious T's and P's. Or maybe it's Taylor Jones Spurgeon now. Taylor and her fiance just got married last weekend, I think. So congratulations on that. But the weekend before that, I do believe, Taylor suffered a really bad practice crash, ended up breaking her neck and broke, I think, her wrist, and had some other injuries that accumulated during that crash as well. So she's in a neck brace for the foreseeable future. That's a very, very, very scary incident because she was actually very close to that injury taking her out or perhaps paralyzed or anything like that. It was a gnarly one. So definitely want to give out our T's and P's to Taylor Jones, and also our well wishes and congratulations to Taylor Jones as well. But yeah, we got some really cool stuff to talk about. I have a ton of notes here, and there's a lot of things that we can talk about. There's a lot of storylines. It all really pertains to GNCC. I don't want to get into it now. Forgive me. It will be coming, but we got like 2 hours of interviews for you guys, or an hour and a half of interviews for you guys. And also here on the very short horizon, we're going to do a GNCC preview show. So I'm trying to get all that lined up, trying to get all that going, and we'll talk about all these storylines on there. So there's no point in me talking about it now by myself and then you listening to it again in a few weeks. So we're going to get to those GNCC storylines, some rule changes, some rider changes, some information that may or may not be known to the public. We'll get to that as well. But yeah, we're going to do that on a GNCC preview show, or maybe just a season preview show, and we'll try to do it before Sumter and really get everything, encapsulate everything in that episode. Also got another couple long episodes coming up. So our last two, it was Caleb Russell for like a 2-hour-long show, and then we did Trevor Bollinger for a 2-hour-long show. Both of those shows were really fun. I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed that long-form conversation, hear more about Caleb's career, and then we went step-by-step analysis of Trevor Bollinger's career. So if you didn't hear that one yet, I was just going back to and listening to it. Never really done a show like that before, like I did with Trevor. And I hope you guys liked it. The downloads look really good, so I think you guys were liking it. But yeah, it was kind of cool. We broke down every step of his career and how he got to this point and how he's coming back into the season. So that was a good one too. But anyway, I digress. I got off on a tangent. I do that. If you listen to the show, you know that I do that. Sorry about it. We got a couple other long form interviews coming up. So there's still a couple people I'm trying to squeeze in before the season and to really sit down and go in depth. So I'll probably post those at separate times because we're at the time of the year where OTP Tuesday needs to happen. And so OTP Tuesdays going forward will be back in full effect, and they will actually be on Tuesdays and not Wednesday, where we'll get a couple people on just like we did today. We'll chat with them because there's a lot of stuff going on. Got the beta team manager. He's going to be coming on. Meant to do that before life gets in the way sometimes. But, yeah, we got Andy lined up. We got all sorts of people lined up. I want to go through the list, but then I'm going to forget somebody, so I'm not going to do it. But we got a lot of people coming up to get on OTP Tuesday and do that, but then also a couple long-form interviews. So be on the lookout for that, and be on the lookout for On the Pipe Podcast. Be on the lookout for Bite GP. We're ready to get going. Go check out our online store. Click the link in our Instagram bio. Go to Facebook. Click the link there. It's live. You can go on there. You can order stuff, and it'll be sent to you. And if you've already ordered it with our little subtle launch, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. It took me a while to figure out what I'm doing, but now we're in business and we're rolling and we're getting things made. We're getting it shipped out. And if you own a company or you work for a company that gets T-shirts made regularly and you need some T-shirts, hit me up. Shoot me a DM. Be more than happy to talk to you about it. I'll come up with a clever name and all that stuff in the near future. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get straight into it. Let's do these interviews. Let's talk to some people. As always, be a friend, tell a friend, let them know about On the Pipe Podcast. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. So now we're going to be joined by friend of the show, XC1 overall champion, full gas overall champion, ISDE world champion for Team Australia. And joining us once again on the podcast, Josh Strang. Josh, how's it going tonight?
Yeah, good mate. All those results are they're in history now, long time ago. So yeah, but thank you. It's good to be here.
Oh no, not that long ago. And plus, we're just a few weeks away from the start of adding more to that list, right?
Yeah, that would be awesome actually. That would be really nice. We'll see how that goes. It'll be a long year as normal, but no, it'll be exciting. It's exciting.
Hey, it's a little bit shorter of a year than normal, actually.
Yeah, yep, yeah, it is. So it's, I mean, it's still, yeah, it's only one less round, but when you, I don't know, it's yeah, it is not much less racing, but it is less. So 12 rounds, which is cool. Whatever, it's still plenty, but when you think about it, like everyone kind of thinks that halfway through the season is at the summer break, but it's really what, round six. Well, this year it is round six, but normally we still have 4 races after the break, which is still a decent amount of racing. But now, even though it's only one less race, 3 races after the summer break really feels like not even not that many races at all. So even though like I said, it's just one race less, it feels like it's a lot. There's a lot less racing after the break than normal.
Yeah, and kind of like what you're saying, how it feels like same amount of time, doesn't really feel like less racing, but then you got right into it after the break. 3 races isn't a lot, especially if you're going into summer break, like close for a championship and battling for those positions. There's not a lot of ground that can be made up in 3 rounds.
Yeah. So there's that, and then even not even for the pro classes, even like for the amateurs. So they went from what, 5? Do they have 5 drops or 4 drops?
4.
So they went 4 to 3, I think, which I think for the amateurs is good because then I saw some classes in 22, man. It's like there were some guys that every time I saw them at the race, they had DNF'd the race, but somehow they won their class. And I'm like, how did this guy win? And it's because they got so many drops. I mean, sometimes I get it, they're amateurs and the families can't always travel to the races, but it's also doesn't make it's not all that fair for someone who puts in the effort and gets, let's say they get 12 seconds or something, I don't know, but they end up fourth overall, if that could even be possible. So it's like for the amateur classes, I think it'll be better to have one less drop. That way the riders have to try and manage their race a little better, where they can't just go balls to the wall and crash out and they're like, oh, that's just a drop, I can just forget about that one.
Yep.
So it's like they have to think about it a little more, and I think maybe the racing might be a little bit more calculated, and you might see some different riders at the front of their class this year, I reckon.
Yeah, and I think too a big thing for the amateurs is like the whole commitment factor of it. And if you're willing to commit and drive to all these races and the competition isn't like that, of itself should be a little bit of a reward instead of having
Yeah, I
four
think that.
drops.
Yeah, and again, it's not the cheapest sport that
Yeah.
that the amateurs do, but at the same time, like you said, if there's a family that's committed to the whole series, I feel like they should be. It's yeah, like exactly what you said, man. It's there's pros and cons to each way you look at it, but I think it's cool that the amateurs, like I said, have one less drop this year. I think it'd be good for all the classes that are racing against each other. I reckon everyone will have to be more consistent. So obviously for our classes, you have a bad race and
It counts.
it really will mess up your year now. Where uh, but for the amateurs, it's kind of you have to kind of think about a little more throughout the year.
Let me ask you this. And we kind of went into this conversation without a plan, and now we're in the weeds already at the beginning. But let me ask you this. So, from an amateur perspective, like the points are divvied up by 1 point. So, it's 30 points for first, and then 29, 28, 27. I think it's actually 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. And then pro riders, it's 30 points to win, 25 points for second, 21 points for third, 18 for fourth. So there's a big gap. And so
Yeah,
basically a 9-point gap between first and third, whereas amateurs it's a 2-point gap between first and third. So same thing like you were saying, with amateurs, 9 races count, you get 3 drops, whatever. Like you could win 7 of your races and then have 2 bad races and lose the championship to a guy that got third place all year. So I guess what from the point system, what do you think? Do you like the pros setup to where it's more of a gap to earn like for those performance bonuses almost, or like the 1 point gap to keep it tight?
Yeah, I think the higher ups somewhere else had something to do with that point system change quite a few years ago. So, uh, yes, if you're winning, then sure, I would love that the point system that we run now. But I think to keep, but yeah, it is a little. I don't know if unfair is the word. I don't know. I think it should be more just based off the motocross point system. That's what 25, 22, 21, maybe 20.
So a little bit tighter margins, yeah.
Yeah. Then it should be, a little bit of a tighter margin. I think, especially with it's like if you're looking at it in the moto kind of aspect, they have 24 motos. We only have 12 motos, so there isn't a whole lot of points to be made up, or a lot of points to be lost. Not a whole point, a lot of points to be made up. So you only get 12 chances to make maximum points. So I think to be closer, it would be a little better. But then if you're in like a situation like Ben Kelly, why would you want to change it? I mean, you win 6 races in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the points gap he had. I remember in 2010, I think the year I won. I think I won the first 4, and I think after the 4th round, I had like a 40-point lead, and it doesn't really that shouldn't be you shouldn't be able to do that, and because I think everyone that year was fairly consistent, so it wasn't like someone in second got second at the first one and then 10th or 12th at the second one. I just think that point spread was so far spread out that you're able to gain so many points if you're winning. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't really like it. But if I was to go out and win the first 6 races, I'd be like, hell yeah, I like this. I like this point system. Let's keep it. So I mean, again, it's pros and cons. I don't know. I mean, if you change it, you're gonna piss someone off, and if you keep it, you're gonna piss someone off. So honestly, uh, I haven't even thought about it for a while now.
When you start talking about the comparison to amateur riding, that's always the first thing that comes to my mind. Just I'm slow, so I've had to deal with that issue before, where I was like the fastest one in my class, but couldn't make all the races because of work, and then all of a sudden you have a couple bad races and it sticks, and you're kind of screwed. But yeah, I mean it's from first to fifth is a 14-point gap in points. But yeah, I did the math. You brought up the Ben Kelly thing. If Jordan Ashburn would have got second at Snowshoe going into the break, then Ben Kelly still would have had the points lead going into summer break after missing 3 races.
Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy.
So
Yeah, but it's like not even talking GNCC. It'd be cool like the full gas. So with the now with the full gas just being one day. So in the past, when Hoop ran it, it was you scored. It was like moto per day. So if you won on Saturday, you got 25 or 30 points or whatever it was.
mm-hmm.
And then if you won on Sunday, you got the same amount of points. Or if you got fourth, you got fourth place points. So over the weekend, even though you still did the same amount of tests, there was more points up for grabs. Where now this year, and I'm pretty certain the points haven't changed, but because it's one day, you only have one chance at getting the maximum amount of points. So it'll be cool to see, maybe obviously not this year because the season's 2 weeks away,
Yeah.
but maybe where coach would you could pay points per test. So then in the end, like you ever watch NASCAR and at the end of the year that someone has like 1,000 points.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how the hell did someone get 1,000 points or whatever? It might
Yeah.
even be more. It might be however many points they have. Where so over the so each weekend there's a maximum. Let's say it's 30 points a test. Now it's 10 tests, so there'd be 300 points each weekend to make.
Up for grabs, yeah.
So then it'd be like you could win 2 tests and then you could have a couple of crappy tests, and I think the point system would stay closer throughout the year. So it'd be kind of cool. End of the first round at a full gas, someone might have 280 points, and someone might have 278. I don't know.
No,
It just might make something more like interesting and make it. There's more of a chance for um, the overall point system to work at a full gas like that. I would think.
more battles, yeah. And kind of like what you were saying, like when it was 2 days and this points or start over each day, you actually benefited from that the year you won your title at full gas. I think um I think you won the first day so much by so much that it really didn't matter what happened the second day. You'd wrap it up, or I don't know. I've slept since then.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was like I think I'd scored enough points where if Stu won, I think it was like I only had to finish like fourth or something, fourth or better or something.
Well, didn't Stu win the weekend? But you won by so many points
Yeah,
on day one that you won the
yeah,
championship.
yeah, yeah,
That's what I was trying to think back to it. Um,
yeah. So it was something like because I think I'm pretty sure I won Saturday, and he, at the full gas or sprints, Stu is known to have a crappy first day and then the second
yeah.
day just go ham. And I
After a
think that's
lot of
what I think
beverages in
he.
between those 2 days
Yeah,
too.
I think he got like. I have a feeling he got like fifth or something that first day.
Yeah,
Like he was back a ways, and
because then Grant got in
that's
between you
what
guys.
yeah, on Sunday, yeah. So that's pretty much what happened. He had a shitty day on Saturday, and I was able to score. Well, I don't know, enough points to where I really only needed to beat. I think I only needed seriously. I think I only needed a fourth or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like to make it more exciting. That'd be cool to see. I don't know if it would work, but yeah, the points are another talking topic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to the full gas thing, I never thought about it like that because also, like, if you have a blowout on the first test of the day, your entire day is ruined. But
Yeah,
if you were able to score each one individually, you'd still be able to salvage the 9 other tests that day and score some points.
yeah, yeah. So it'd be championship points. Not you wouldn't be in the running for an overall for the
Yeah,
day,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, you would still have championship points to be able to uh, yes salvage a position in the championship. Yeah,
What about like from I guess a GNCC standpoint? And this is kind of an idea I've thrown around. If we can get my series on the ground and rolling for a few years, but you mentioned the correlation to NASCAR. What would you think about like a playoff type system to where, because like you said, especially with the points gap, it's easy to get such a big lead and then kind of maintain that throughout the rest of the year. What about like if after summer break or whatever, if it split off and then became a bracket? So then you didn't really have to win the race that weekend. You just had to beat the person that you were up against until the final race. There's two people left, and you don't have to beat anybody but that one person to win the championship.
I don't. That sounds stressful, man. I don't know that. Yeah, it sounds like it could work, but that sounds awful
But I mean,
stressful.
think about it. So, like, in a situation where, like, kind of what you ran into last year, if you got hurt at the beginning of the season, were able to come back in at the end of the season, there's a chance you could still win the championship if you made it through the tournament, the playoff bracket.
Yeah,
Is that
see,
good or bad?
like, well, I see what you're saying there, and I wouldn't think that would be fair. So if, like you said, I, uh, I got injured at the second round and then came back and won the Penton, and if that put me into the playoffs, that wouldn't be really.
Well,
That's is that what you get kind of getting at?
kind of, but in that situation, so say you got hurt the second round, and so you don't make any of the races, and then you go back towards at the end of summer break. Well, then it's a playoff bracket. So since you missed all those races but the first one, you would be the last seed. You would be seed number 8. And so that means your first playoff round would be against the first place person. So that means whoever was leading the points, you would have to come back in off the couch and beat them in that round in order to keep the hopes alive.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's
So
okay.
like the one
That's
seed would go against the last seed, the second seed would go against the second to last seed.
yeah. So and then what? And if the 8 seed beats the 1 seed, the everyone still races, but the 8 seed advances to race against the whoever.
Yep. whoever the next one is in the bracket.
Or back. Huh.
Dang.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to delete this part and save it for the records for the Bike GP series. But no, I've always wondered that because that's how NASCAR was for a long time. Is same way as every other sport works. Most points wins. But then they switched to that playoff bracket, and it basically came down to you got to beat these people. Or I think they might start with like 24, and they take the top 20 that finish. And I don't know. It's something like that to where it kind of resets the clock at the end of the season, and then it's really who comes on late. I mean, just like the NFL. You could go undefeated in the regular season, and that doesn't mean you're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. If you could make it work, I think it'd be exciting.
Well,
yeah, maybe it would work only for something like the bike GPs, you know,
maybe
where
we'll
the
have to do
races
it.
where the races are shorter. Like, I don't think it would work as well for a GTC or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. That could work. That's kind of interesting.
Just a random thought. I don't know. You're
Yeah.
one of the wily vets in the class. You've been around a lot of racing, so just like the points and just getting into this, like it's just cool to hear thoughts as you've seen the whole sport progress. But speaking of that, sports progressing. We're going into your 17th year. We're coincidentally in the 17th minute of this interview. So it's all working out. Is there any other big 17s that you can think of going into this year?
Yes, that doesn't 17 minutes save you 15% or more on Geico?
It's something like that.
There's someone
Give or
from
take
Geico.
one or two.
Are they listening? Are they listening? Yeah. Yeah, no. So yes, big 17. My 17th season. So, well, I mean, I guess we'll start from the start of this. Yeah, so this year I've changed my number to 17. I've posted a little bit about it on social media, but we haven't received uh, official photos yet from Kawasaki, so I just haven't really posted much about it. I just started to post some videos because I've been actually able to ride here in the last month or so. So it's exciting for me just being able to ride. But yeah, last year, unfortunately, I earned the number 17 overall at GNTC. So for years, I ran the 3-digit number 114, and honestly, we ran that because we were pretty much told to at Husky and KTM. We were pretty much told to run or find a 3-digit number that you liked or wanted to run and run it as a career number. Yeah, which I understand to a point, but I don't know. Just the GNCC for the first 10 years of my GNCC career, you always ran the number that you had earned. So, long story short, I was like, you know what, I want to change. For one, I ran 114 because I was told to from another manufacturer, and I don't want to do what they told me to do. So I wanted to run my own number. And I just wanted to change. I feel like the 114 is good, and I still feel like that has become somewhat of a career number for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't my number to begin with. It was like I ran it the year I first came over here, but Glenn Carney also ran it before me. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, it's become somewhat of a career number, but it never was anything super special to me. So, I just ran it and I kind of ran with it. And then I was like, you know what? This year, the last few years, just some things. I've been able to win some races on 114 and that sort of stuff. And I'm not superstitious, but it's like I just have just shit going. Sometimes just not going my way, and so sometimes a change is as good as a holiday, I think they say. So we changed it up, and the deal was I kind of liked the number 17. At the end of the year, I started looking at points, and I was kind of like, if I get 17, I'll run it, but if I get 18 or 19, I probably won't. So I think it was funny because the last lap of the race, I'd kind of worked it out who could possibly pass me at the Ironman race There was a couple of them, I think Benji, Gus, Johnny Girroir was supposed to pass me, and he on the last lap he went, I don't know why, he went super fast, and I was watching him in the woods. I'm like, dude, he's dusting his airfielder. He for whatever reason, and like a mile from the finish, Lyndon comes through, and I'm like, there's no Johnny, and he DNF'd, or I don't know if he DNF'd or finished outside the points or whatever, but he didn't end up passing me in the overall, so I ended up with 17. So I was like, oh well, I'll run it. So we're trying to teach Maverick that I'm not 114 anymore, that I was 17. And so one day I think we were sitting at the kitchen table, and I was like kind of thinking back, and I'm like, I was like, that's funny. I was like, 2023 will be my 17th year as a pro in the US. And that was after I'd already chosen to run the number 17. So, I mean, I don't know, just kind of worked out pretty cool.
Wow. So you didn't even realize it was your 17th year until after you'd already decided on the number?
Yeah. Yeah. I swear I forget what I was doing. I was counting my years for some reason. And I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. So I'd already picked the number, and I was just, yeah, like I said, I was just counting them for some reason. We were talking about something, and I was like, holy shit, that's my 17th year as a professional. So we did 16 years. This is a 16th year GNCC with 1 year at in the West Coast. So, 17 years. So the number's quite fitting.
Dang. Yeah, that's it. So you'd sent me a proof of the numbers a while back, and I know that you were waiting to kind of announce it or waiting for it to be a surprise or whatever with the team shoot and all that. But I thought at that time like that was a big driving factor. I didn't realize that you put all that together after the fact, that it was your 17th
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. It was kind of funny actually.
Dang.
So,
So yeah.
and it's cool. And then the more I thought about it, there's been a lot of good guys that have ran 17, not so much in the off road, but like moto guys, like Webb, Tomac, Barsha. Well, Savachi currently runs it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was another 17 there somewhere, but just Tomac and Webb alone,
Yeah.
it's
And
like
all
it's
those
like
guys ran
that's
it
kind
on
of cool.
250s and then won championships.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not on 250, but hey, no, it looks. I think it looks cool. So um, I think most everyone that has seen it or whatever has commented on it, said they like it. So, and if they don't, then go pound some sand. Uh, yeah, but no, it's exciting. Like I said, I wanted to change, and I think it's a good one. So, and then it's like the other to harp on that actually a little bit. It's like for those years that I ran the 114, I think two of the 6 or 7 years that I ran it, I was second. I think 1 year maybe I was fourth. So it's like it wasn't like I had terrible years then, and it's like, so looking back at it, if Craig DeLong never wins a championship, never wins an XC1 championship, and let's say he never leaves that Austrian brand, he would never have any. No, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
It's like before these guys made all their riders run 3-digit numbers. Craig was running 9. I think he had an 11.
Yep.
He had another 2-digit number there somewhere. I think 19 or 17 or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if he never gets second place again, and he never gets to run a number 2 plate? It's like there's like we all work so damn hard to do, like it's an accomplishment. If you're not, even if you're not winning the GNCC class, but you're getting second, third, fourth, it's still a damn good accomplishment. And if you want to run that number, you should be able to do what you want, And I just feel like for a company to be like, hey, you need to run a 3-digit, it's like, we live in the USA, man. You get to do whatever you want. It's like that kind of grinds my gears a bit. And at first, I really didn't mind running the 114. I thought it was kind of cool. But you put that was because I'd already got to run the numbers that I had earned over the years. But like a perfect example is Craig. It's like, what if he never wins XC1, or what if he never gets another number two plate in an XC1 class? It's like you've just ran his. No offense, but I'm not even sure what his three-digit number is. 343 or something.
Um, Dang, if you wouldn't have asked me, I could have told you. 342.
Yeah, but yeah. So it's like I don't know. It kind of sucks. Like for him, and I like Ashburn went away from it too. Even though I don't think he even had to run a three-digit. Um, when he moved back to the his current team, Magna
Magna, yeah.
team. Yeah, he ran his single digit, which I think was 3 for 2 years, right?
Yep.
And I mean, I think it's not like 3 wasn't his career number. That's what he earned, and he was back. He's almost old school now as well, where every year he would change his number as well. So, uh, I don't know, just like a personal preference, and that was something that I had thought about. Once I had changed, I'm like, man, these guys running all these numbers. They never get to hang a number 2 jersey or a number 2 number plate up on the wall or whatever. Um, so I don't know. Hey, to each his own.
Well, so I remember like talking to you about that because I mean in 2020 you were second in points, and like I remember talking to you like, hey man, you gonna run the number 2 next year, and you're like, nah, I'm gonna stick with the 114. So where was all what you're saying back then? Why didn't you run the number 2 plate?
Well, yeah. So, like I said, I've raced for this is my 17th year, man. I'd ran number 2 plate for several years.
Yeah.
Like I think I ran it. I don't even know. You can look it up, but yeah. And I'm pretty sure I had a mock up of the number 2 made, and I just kind of wasn't really into it at that stage.
Hmm.
And whether that was because I'd had it in the past or whatever, I'm not real sure. But yeah, it was just something that at that stage I was like, I'll just keep this number. Yeah,
Gotcha. Well, now we know.
yeah,
But anyway, man, going into the season, I can't believe it's already right here among us. But I just wanted to get a real quick update with the arm. How's it feeling? See you down there riding a lot. See you pounding sand a lot. How's everything going heading into, I mean, really just a couple weeks out?
yeah, yeah. Well, when I got released I think I got released about 11 weeks from Big Buck, I think. So I was stressing then, so you can imagine I'm still stressing pretty hard. Uh, Having about 8 months off doesn't at 34 years old isn't ideal. It's coming back. It is coming back. It's coming back a lot slower than I thought it would. Not even the arm related, man. Just riding and getting back into not so much shape, not fitness shape, just I don't even know how to explain it. Just riding, man. It's more difficult and taking a lot longer than I thought it would. So it's been it's been pretty stressful couple of months just trying to ride. Like I got released at uh, like I said, I forget the date now, but when I first went and rode, I could only ride once a week for about a month, just because it was still sore, and I just at being the second go around, I can't really afford to. I can't afford to have another surgery, not financially, but career wise,
Yeah.
because once I would, if I had to have another surgery, it's going to be a really um, tough injury to try and recover from again. So the doctor that I went to in Charlotte, he had just said that the second time around, the scar tissue that was created from the first surgery, it just restricts blood flow to the bone of where it's trying to heal, and it just takes a lot longer. So I got a few weeks ago. I went to the doctor again, and he's like, you're now good to go. So before I was trying to ride just easy stuff as much as I could. That's what he told me I could do, and then I went back, and he's like, this is the crazy part is he's like, yeah, you're like 75-80% healed. And he's like, this is where I would release my full contact sport people for full on good to go activities. So
Wow.
if it's a footballer, they can go do what footballers do, tackle each other, um, run into people and that sort of stuff. So he was comfortable at letting me do that, and it's obviously all based off how I feel. So I was finally able to get some 2-a-days strung together, which took forever. And it was like the first day was like an hour 20 total ride time, and then it would start to get sore, so I would pack up. And the second day might have only been like an hour. And then, so finally, I'm getting up to where just this past weekend I had my first 3-a-day or 3-day in a row ride. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday I rode. And by the end of Monday, I was pretty sore. And then so I took yesterday off and was able to ride again today fairly comfortably. So it it's just it's yeah, it's been a process, man. But it's finally I can finally start seeing some light, and I'm starting to enjoy it. Again, it's like my old man called me a couple of weeks ago, or actually last week probably, and it was after I don't know, it might have been after a rough day, like just trying to get back into the groove and things just not clicking how I feel like they should. And he's like, do you still have fun doing it? And I'm like, so honestly, Dad, at this stage, no, it's not fun. And it's because it's like I know what I'm capable of, and at this stage in my recovery, I can't do it yet. And it's like it's stressful and frustrating and like mentally draining and all that kind of crap. So he just asked me, and I told him how it was, and I'm like, look. But then the next day, I think I went riding, and I had an absolute blast. I think I actually went riding Big Tom. Shout out Big Tom. Um, where'd we? I don't know where we went. We went somewhere. He came driving, and I was like, you know what? I
Was
had
it
a
out
freaking
at
blast.
the day we rode in the rain?
No, see, I had a blast that day too.
Oh,
Yeah, and that Big Tom was there too.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, man, we went somewhere just the other week with Tom. Anyway, wherever I went, it was mad fun, and it was like it was the very next day that like the day before I told the old man that I was like, you know what, no, it freaking sucks some days, and it's not because I'm not enjoying it, it's just because it fucking sucks.
How much have you
And
focused on the aspect of having fun since that conversation?
well, I just need to. It's kind of like every week the riding gets better, and then it becomes more fun for me again. So it's like I just need to. I have just figured that I need to just ride myself back into shape and that sort of stuff, and instead of trying to be maybe ready to go out and win big buck or podium big buck, I just need to go out and be happy that I'm back racing, um, and then two, just try and relearn and just get used to being back racing the motorcycle again. So uh, I think that's the biggest thing we've tried to figure out is just making sure that I'm having fun, and then not being so focused on being 100% ready for the first hell, it might be the first 3 or 4 rounds, So, which when you think about that, I'm like, that sucks. Especially when you talk about the shortened, even though it's only one race less, it's a shortened season.
Yeah.
So it's
Big
like, yeah,
points gaps.
yeah. So man, yes, it's coming along. My hand feels days where it feels still sore, but overall it feels a hell of a lot better than it did when I was trying to race on it last year. So now I'm just trying to get the craft back as quickly and safely as possible.
Is there is there any pressure in your mind to go out and maybe like overdo it almost? Like if you go back out, start racing, and you're running up front, and uh, is there any added pressure on yourself given like where you're at in your career and things with the team, or just heading in looking for that next contract? Like, does any of that play into it? I guess going into it.
Um, Maybe not so much. I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, hopefully not at the hopefully at the races. I'm not thinking about new contracts or my future, but definitely trying to get re-prepared for the season. It crosses my mind more. It crosses my mind often. Yeah, I guess you could say so. Uh, Especially getting older with this injury, it's like it. Honestly, it was probably almost career ending when it didn't heal. So I'm thankful to have it back to where I can do this stuff again, and I feel like I said, each week I feel like I'm getting better and more comfortable and faster and everything. But yeah, the whole thing is has kind of come at a tough time. It's like I have a new contract with Babbitt's. Uh, it's a single year, so that's a little. I don't know the word I'm looking for. Uh, yeah, a little can be. I'm a little worried about that, to be honest. But if I put in the work and get the results, then I shouldn't have anything to worry about. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, 100%. And we talked about the 17th, finishing 17th on the season, and now kind of talking about this stuff. I firmly believe, as well as you, I gotta say, firmly believe that there's not 16 people better than you. Obviously, last season didn't go the way that we all hoped, or that you hoped that it would go. But have you put any thought into, like, do you have a set goal of how long you want to keep racing for, or are you still in the mindset of as long as I can be competitive and make money, I'm here to stay?
Yeah, I don't know. It those answers or questions or whatever kind of come up a bit, and it's I want to race. I enjoy it. I still enjoy it, even though the conversation we just had a minute ago is where I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But honestly, man, I still love. Like that's why I want to get back to where I was at because I freaking love it. It's like for me, it's easy. Like I love the training. The racing is some of the hardest shit that I've ever done. But in the end, it's like, it's cool. Like to be able to race and get paid to do it, it's freaking cool, man. And the, at the end of my deal with Husky, I was there. So that was 4 years ago now. There was thoughts. I had thoughts that I wanted to. I was like, oh, I'm probably almost done here. But then you sign with someone like the Kawasaki Babbage team, and it's life comes back and it's fun again.
Yeah.
So it's like, shit, I can keep doing this, and that's my goal is to keep doing it as long as I'm having fun and I'm not like I can stay injury free and be competitive, and then the longer I race, the more I learn that it's not all about. I mean, the perfect example is Johnny Gallagher. Um, he raced professional or the XC1 class for 20. I don't can't couldn't even tell you, but it's more than 20 years. He won. I think he won one race, maybe two.
One.
One race in 20 years. Not even a championship. One race, and that guy, like people were happy to help that guy out because of how he talked to spectators and fans and sponsors and how he presented himself at the races, So it's like the longer I race, the more I realize that it's not all about winning. And I think we've had this conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I'm presentable and people like to come up and talk to me and I can talk to them and not necessarily shove product down their throat, but if I can say, hey, that the new Dunlop MX-14 that I tried today in the sand. Worked unreal. Sponsor plug. Shout out. Shout out Dunlop. But it's like some people actually messaged me on Instagram, said, "Oh, how was it?" And I'm like no shit, this tire is amazing. It's freaking so sick. And it's like, so it's not all about throwing on that tire and going and racing Florida and winning on it, and then Dunlop doing an ad on it. It's about me going and talking to 10 mini parents and being like, your kids should try this tire. It would work a hell of a lot better here in the sand in Florida. And they're like, huh, this guy kind of knows what he's talking about. Maybe I'll go buy a Dunlop. It's like, it's like not all about race. It's not all about winning, man. It's crazy. And if I can keep doing that and keep making myself marketable to sponsors and be able to like be a fan favorite or something like that, I'll keep racing. So yeah, so the goal is to keep racing after this year, for a few more. We'll see how it goes.
Dang. What a way to sum it up and bring it all together.
Yep.
No, and I mean things like that too, like you mentioned, like talking to the mini parents, and like you're one of the most active riders on social media as far as like even engaging with people and commenting on stuff and liking pictures and talking to people, and like the going out of your way to get the helmet made for the Warrior class winner. Like you were saying, I think there's a lot more to results, and I think that's why you're here in year 17, and that's why I think most of the crowd is still rooting for you. Like I don't think there's many people out there that don't want to see Josh Strang be successful, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and that's, I mean, I don't know, just I just like, I don't know, I just like doing that kind of stuff, and it's that I kind of wish I would have realized that more earlier in my career too. But when you're young, all you think you have to do is win, and I guess that's how I learn it, or that's how you learn is through uh, I don't know, through going through these things. Like you're like, oh man, I got to win all these races, and in the end, the race wins definitely helped me. But it's like I feel like I've turned into a different person where I'm now more approachable than what I was when I was 21, 22. And I honestly, I probably feel like I'm more valuable to a manufacturer now than I was back when I was winning more races. So,
Wow.
but yeah, I did like that helmet. You need to get Austin on and have a chat with him. I almost hung that thing on my wall, man. He almost didn't get it.
Just got a picture of you holding it. Like here's a picture of the
Yeah,
helmet that you almost won.
yeah, yeah. It's funny that we're both buddies with another guy who OB. I'm pretty good buddies with OB actually, and it was funny because when I got the helmet painted, I sent him a picture. He's a retired army, and
Mm-hmm.
so I sent it to him. I was like, dude, you could have had this helmet because he won the first two races at the GNCC in the Warrior class.
Oh, and then he
He
didn't race the
he
rest of the
won the
season.
yeah. So I ragged on him for it. It was he deserved a roasting.
Yeah,
But
he
I
could have
mean
put it
that
next to
I
all them sniper rifles he's been winning.
yeah yeah. No, but I like doing that stuff, man. And it's like Fly donated the helmet, and then that Hellion Designs, he hooked me up with a good price for the cause. And I mean, I think it's more, that helmet was more personal.
Yeah.
It was like more like, I think I like doing the helmet more than giving away the fridge, even though I was happy to give away the fridge the first year. That's because it was kind of like, I was just like, let's give something away to the Warrior class. That'd be cool. But I think I'll probably try and keep the helmet painting around. So any Warrior class guys listening, you better start training. So we'll get some cool designs for some helmets. I kind of wanted to. There was like 2 rounds left, and I was like, I kind of had the idea that I wanted to do the helmet, and I knew Austin because I'd kind of been looking throughout the year to see who was winning,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew he was the Marine was in the Marines or was a Marine or however you refer
Yeah.
retired guys. Some of them get upset, and I was like, man, I hope the guy in second's like Army or Navy or something, because then I was going to post up on social and say uh, these guys are battling. They all kind of have their confrontations and
Oh
like
yeah.
Army's best or Navy or whatever. So I was hoping that there was a different branch, but they were both. I think the guy that got second was Josh Murdoch maybe. I can't remember his last name. But he was a Marine as well, so I was like, oh, that's no fun. Oh, so maybe this year OB can spice it up, or someone else from another branch can come in and battle with a couple of Marines, and we can stir some shit on Instagram.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, when we were filming the interview thing, this was like, man, you got a monster fridge last year and a helmet this year. Like, you better be prepared to do something next year and every
Yeah,
year after.
yeah, yeah. No, that's what. Yeah, I remember we said that, and I'm like, I think the helmet's kind of. If I can keep doing the helmet, I'll be happy to do that. So, uh, that'd be cool. We'll
Yeah.
see.
No, that was a sick helmet, and it's got to be sick to win that thing for that Warrior class winner.
Yeah, so it'd be cool. Honestly, it'd be cool one day to when I was done racing, or maybe when I move into like the vet 40 class or something, I can have it would be I kind of have an idea that I would like to have a bike, and you have I guess you would retiree I don't know, whatever you call them,
Yeah.
military servicemen and women. You have them enter a raffle or some type of thing, and each round I have a different guy or girl come and race the bike, and they get like, so I have a set sponsor, and they supply a set of, I don't know, it's just an idea that I have. If someone's listening and steals it, I'll come and flog you. But it's like something that I would kind of want to do to give back, and that's like, I don't know if it'll work, if any sponsors will go for it, but eventually down the road, that's kind of what I want to do. I think that would be cool also. So we'll see how that goes.
That'd be sick, man. Especially make it military. You for riders, I would say you are the one, but for people in general, you're like one of the most supportive people that I've met for military personnel, whether it be active duty or retired or whatever. And kind of that story that you talked about, like one of your first races over here when the anthem was playing and Jeff Russell told you to take your hat off or take your helmet off or whatever it was. And you aren't even from this country. So it's cool to see how much, or originally, you know what I mean. But it's cool to see how
Yeah.
much you give back and how much you care and support the vets. That would be an awesome idea.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's cool. I think they're freaking, I think they're all legends, man. It's cool. And I don't know. I think in Australia, you kind of grew up, we learned military history a little bit, uh, and I think my old man was kind of into it as well. So I read some books growing up, and I just enjoy not so much the war fighting side of things. It's like the adventure that the books that you read. Obviously, to sell a book, it's like a TV show. You have to make it uh, appealing to a reader or a viewer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the books that I've read, they're like, some of them you can't eat. Like, I'm like, dude, I need to go to bed. And I'm not even a reader. Like, I can't even read very fast. And there's some books that I've read, and I'm like, these guys are doing the coolest shit. And it's not, like I said, it's not about the war fighting part. It's like about the training and the travel, and even just the general living type stuff. It's just like traveling the world. And I think a lot of Australians, I feel like my era, you you're the almost like the goal in life is to get outside the country and just travel for some stage of your life. And it's like when you read the military books and that sort of stuff, it's like these guys did it and get paid to do all this cool shit. And then I like shooting guns and that sort of stuff as well. So then you read about all that kind of stuff they do. It's like, dude, these guys are like legends. Yeah. And I could be like, I'd be starstruck over a military guy over a film star any day, I reckon. It's like you get me. So let's say Tim Kennedy.
Yeah,
I know he's UFC as
that'd
well,
be
but
a big
I
one,
didn't.
yeah.
I wasn't a UFC fan, and I'm not a fan of him because of UFC. I'm a fan because of his military career or whatever. And it's like if I met him, I'd be like, I'd fall over backwards. I reckon I'd be like one of those, like, I don't know, just like one of those teeny bopper chicks hanging off of Justin Bieber or something, you know. But there's like him, and there's
David Goggins.
And not a huge Goggins fan, but
Stay hard.
Yeah, yeah. I did listen to one of his podcasts the other day, and I don't know, he tells the truth. He tells the truth, man.
He's another level of it, man.
Yeah.
As cool as David Goggins is, like some of the people impersonating him is that much funnier. But I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to go off subject.
That's right. There was the Medal of Honor recipient from down in Texas. Anyway, there's a couple of guys. If I met, I'd be like, dude, you're a freaking legend. And even in Australia too, there's a guy I've read a couple of his books. And I mean, he was a doctor in the military, and I reckon if I met him, I'd just be like, dude, you're a freaking legend. Like, I don't even know. I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's just, yeah, I'm into that shit, and I respect everything they did. It's cool.
Have you heard of Nicholas Irving, the Reaper?
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
He's another good one to check out. He was a sniper.
Yeah, I think he has a few books.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's got a few out, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that is that's cool. And yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. Like as far as meeting those kind of guys, or Marcus Luttrell.
Yeah.
That they did the Lone Survivor about.
Yeah.
That'd be another one. I'd be like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, even the guy that got locked up for like 18 months and Trump let him out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like him as well. Even it's like any of these guys, man. It's like, dude, I was like sliding up in their DMs and shit.
Dang. Well, cool, man. No, this is when we were talking before this, trying to figure out what to talk about. Here we are, an hour later.
Yeah.
But no, as always, dude, I really appreciate your time coming on. It was an awesome conversation, and now you got me wanting to go look up more military stuff. So that's what my YouTube tonight is going to be about.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, man, just want to say thank you again for coming on the show and chatting, and good luck with the rest of your training, and good luck with this season that is starting in like 3 weeks already.
Yep, no worries. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so we're going to bring on our final guest of the evening. He is a XC2 champion. He is a 2-time Sprint Enduro champion. He's a 5-time J-Day champion and the newest member of the Red Bull Factory FMF KTM racing team. I think I said it out of order, but nonetheless, Johnny Girroir. Johnny G, what's going on, man?
Not too much. How are you doing?
Just one injury heals and you get another one, and for me anyway, not for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing over here with dirt bikes. It's when it's gonna happen, not if. So I feel you on that one.
That was a bad way to start the conversation. I didn't think about that till after I said it, but yeah, dude, all the stuff I do, I re-broke my leg last week playing disc golf. So It's just
Yeah, that's tough.
if it's gonna
Those
happen, it's
pine
gonna
needles,
happen,
you gotta watch those pine needles.
dude. I'm telling you. But you, healthy, back on the bike, back riding. How's things feeling? I know that you came back on at the end of last season, won a few races, and now obviously moving up to the front line this year. But how's everything healing? Is it business back as usual? Does any part of that injury in the pelvis or anything still bother you?
No, honestly, it's pretty good. I don't feel much pain from it. It's kind of, I would say, 100% healed to my liking. It's not affecting me. It feels good. Feels good, on the bike, pedaling, I'm running now, doing all sorts of stuff, all the exercises in the gym and stuff, and nothing seems to be bothering it. So it's doing good as it can.
Perfect. That's great news to hear.
Yeah.
But one of the big storylines of the offseason is you making the switch over to that Red Bull FMF KTM team, and that's kind of always been the premier team. And so, I mean, how does it feel moving over to the KTM brand? And yeah, I guess just kind of walk us through that process.
Yeah, it feels good. I feel super lucky and fortunate at the opportunity, and I got the phone call from Auntie and Timmy, asking me if I'd be interested, and I said, yeah. I mean, not to sound too excited, but I've always dreamed of being on that team, and if you race dirt bikes and you want to make a future for yourself or whatever, race for a living, I feel like you said, that's the premier team that everyone wants to be on, and I've always thought that way myself, and I rode KTM's from 2013 to 17, and then I rode the Suzuki in 18, and then 19 and 20 I was on Trail Jesters. So I've always rode KTM even on 65s and 85s, and I've always loved KTM's. I've always gelled with the bike. I know Gas is kind of the same thing, same frame, and they're new this year, but same geometry and everything. So I just gel good with that bike, and yeah, I'm super excited to be on the team and very fortunate.
Dude, and that's one of the things, and I think I even said it to you on Instagram or whatever, but it's like to think about your first GNCC podium. Obviously, multi-time J-Day champ and had success in racing and everything, but coming over at Snowshoe, you get on the podium on the Suzuki, and then just to think of everything that has happened in your career and all the championships, all the race wins, all the way up until this point. Now signing with Factory KTM and going on the front row. Like, have you really like sat down and thought about just your career and how it's developed and how it's gotten to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely uh, try to wrap my head around it and stuff. And if you asked me 5 years ago or 2018, I remember sitting there with my cousin, just on the MCS team, and whatever, taking my bike home and washing it, and just dealing with all that stuff, and just I remember just sitting in the parking lot looking over at the KTM truck, and my cousin's like, "You'll be there one day, buddy. Don't worry." And I of course didn't believe him, and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, like, I hope to be and stuff, but like it just seems so far away." And he's like, "Nah, you'll be there one day." And I just always whatever, tried my hardest, and just always kept the dream alive, and kept hoping and kept working hard, and there's just stepping stones stepping stones on the way there, and I was talking to Ross, and he wanted me to prove myself, to him, that, hey, like, look, I'll stick it out, and I'll put the work in, and I'll try, and I'll go through a whole year of racing GNCCs, and I actually want this. It's not just like a I don't know, a quick sporadic thought or whatever I'm trying to say.
Just to see how it happens or how it
Yeah,
goes.
see how it happens, and he obviously, he's from New England and stuff, and knew my past wasn't always the greatest, but Just wanted to see that I was dedicated and actually wanted it. And we were talking, and he's like, if you stick it out and get through this year, like we'll sign you and we'll get you on a KTM in 19. And that's kind of like the stepping stone I used there, and just that gave me motivation and stuff to get on the bike I actually wanted to race. And then I got on the KTM and stuff, and everything was clicking and going good. And then I ended up obviously getting sick, but and then I came back out swinging. I got sick in 19 and could only race 3 races, and then came back out in 20 and fought hard for that championship and just made a mistake at Ironman and ended up KOing myself and kind of took myself out that year, and then came out in 21 freaking with a vengeance to win. And I think I clicked off like 9 wins or something like that. So that felt good. And then, just was trying to do the same thing last year and hit a sneaky route under the leaves and kind of took the wind out of my sail again. But here we are, back on a KTM and start to a new year, and everything's good. Everything's clicking. I'm healthy. I'm feeling good, fit, and strong, and just ready to go, honestly.
Heck yeah. And man, so that's kind of one thing I wanted to bring up, and you kind of got into it a little bit. Moving up this year to XC1, obviously when you win the XC2 championship, you got a year to defend, and then you move up to XC1. But I wanted to ask you, do you feel like there is any like unfinished business in the XC2 class, or like does that weigh into it at all? Because like you said, in 2020 you were so close to that championship. I mean, out in front, winning races, and then end up having that incident late in the season, and then lost out on that championship. Come back, like you said, dominated, got that championship, and then your year to defend, ended up getting hurt. But even after you got hurt, you came back and won 3 straight races and then got second in that last one. So does any of that play into anything? Like, do you feel like there was any unfinished business in the XC2 class? I mean, I know you got to be happy with your progression and with your career and things that you've done, but yeah, just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I would have liked to defend my number one plate, and I felt like I had a good chance to do so, and was feeling strong and stuff like that. But it's racing, and nothing's promised, and stuff happens, obviously. And I just it kind of it, like I guess dawned on me or rubbed me the wrong way for a while when I was sitting there in the chair, hurt at home and stuff, and I was like, this was my last shot at getting a second championship in XC2, but I've put that behind me and stuff, and just always got to be thinking and moving forward. And now it's time to try to fight for an XC1 championship.
Yeah, and so did any of that discussion come up, like signing the new deal with KTM? I mean, it's a huge contract, and as we mentioned, like going to the premier team, and kind of did it in a year where you were out a lot of the year from being hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I was working really hard, before I got hurt, and I got hurt, and I never stopped, man. I literally was talking to the doctor. I got hurt Sunday. I shattered the wing of my pelvis, and it was Monday, and I was looking at the doctor like, hey, when can I leave this place? And he's like, if you stop taking pain medicine for 6 hours and you get up and show me you can get out of bed and walk over to the bathroom, you can leave. And I said, it's done. And my pain medicine, it was time for it. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I told the nurse, brought it in, and I told her I don't want it. And about 6 hours later, the doctor came in, and it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in life. It was so painful, but I sat up and I spun and I stood up and I walked to the bathroom, and I was able to go home. I did all I could do to get in the truck, and I probably regretted it for the first week. I was like, I wish I was in the hospital right now. But they said you can walk as much as you can, keep moving, and that's what I did. And it was very painful for the first couple of weeks, man. It was like someone was freaking stabbing me with a knife or driving a screwdriver in my hip. I mean, obviously I had a broken hip, but just never stopped. I never stopped moving, and as soon as I could do something, I was doing it. I was walking, and then I was on my e-bike, and I was way ahead of schedule. And then, I just got stronger, and just went to the gym every chance I got, and started rowing, and just never stopped, and built my way up. And I was honestly going to come back to High Point, and had a big crash out back of my house. Like third gear on the gas, and fractured a couple ribs. And then I had to wait that out and heal that up. And I actually raced the high voltage sprint enduro with some slightly cracked ribs. And I was
Dang.
like, yeah, that was all fine and dandy. I can go out there and sprint for 5 minutes or 7 minutes and take a break. But I was like, there's no way I'll be able to do this for 3 hours. So I decided to pull out of that one, and then head to Snowshoe. And things went well there. I set my expectations really high, and I landed up around where I wanted to be. I won the XC2 class and got third overall. That felt good. And then I just went home and started just training so hard. And Caleb and Jacob actually had to pull me back a little bit, because they're like, you're gonna peak too soon. Like, you need to take a break for a week or two before we start this summer boot camp up before the last four. So um, I was just feeling good and determined, and just doing everything in my power to just get back. And yeah, and then we did that boot camp and stuff, and I was in really good shape going into the last four rounds, and had some more good success. And then I think the buckwheat there, I was just made a stupid mistake and hit a rock or some kind of stick in the berm we were going over to climb the pro hill climb, and ended up smashing my handguard, and it spun the bolt to my front brake line, and I lost all my front brakes. And it's just tough, man. I had the speed to win and stuff, but I just couldn't keep it on two wheels trying to ride that speed. And Lyndon's obviously ripping. I mean, he won the championship, and he's fast as heck. Anyways, obviously everyone knows that he's fast. So we battled back and forth all day, and we passed each other a bunch. And I ran it in on him on the last lap. Uh, Not even meaning to. We kind of just, it was like this mud hole into this left hand corner, and he was going around this stump, and I tried to blitz the mud hole and came in and freaking locked the brakes up. And we basically, like, if I would have punted him off the track if I held on the throttle. And we kind of touched and came together. And then I tried to run it in again on him, just doing everything in my power to try to get back in the lead on the first lap, or the last lap, I'm sorry. And ended up going down, and then it was about 2 miles from the finish line, and just nothing I could do. But that was frustrating, because I knew it was my last race in XC2, and I really wanted to win, obviously. But yeah, he was riding good, and I couldn't make it happen that day.
Dang. And talk about some adrenaline, man. Everything that you went through and come back and be battling like that on the last lap right before the finish, that had to have got the juices flowing.
Oh yeah, I was gnarly. We were going at it for sure. It was cool. It's good. That's what racing's all about, and that's what I feel like that's what we live for. Those good, hard fought battles feel better, um, obviously, than anything that's handed to you, for sure.
100%. No, that's cool. And you mentioned before about healing, dude. I'll never forget at Camp Coker when we were just standing there. I think it was during the morning. I think it was during the morning race when Caleb and Zacho were racing, and then you just come pedaling up on a e-bike like nothing was going on. I was like, dude, what in the world are you doing on a bike right now?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely got on the e-bike a little sooner than the doctor wanted me to, but honestly, it was better than walking. I could ride my e-bike and have way less pain than I could walking around. So that was my therapy, man. I rode that e-bike every day. I was super thankful to have it, and I think that's what helped me, heal and get better so fast, is just having that and having the therapy. And I could go out and be on two wheels and not sit there and sit on the couch all day and get depressed and be like, oh, I'm hurt, and feel sorry for myself and all that. It helped me bridge that gap to when that time I was healing.
For sure. If nothing else, just get a little freedom out, like you said, to get out of the
Yeah,
house and get to go places.
yeah, just some fresh air for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, man, you mentioned that was your last XC2 race. Obviously, at the final round, you moved up to XC1, so you got a start under your belt and kind of got one under your belt from the front row. But I want to talk to you about the mindset going into XC1. And I got to start this off. First of all, it's got to feel pretty good when you look around, and obviously a lot of media is starting to pick back up. There's podcasts, there's interviews, there's all sorts of stuff going on. And a very frequent name out of everyone's mouth going into the season is Johnny Girroir. So, first of all, what's the mindset going into XC1 for the year? And then I guess on the back part of that, how does it feel to like already be the name people are thinking of? Like people are already putting you in the title mix. People are already talking about how fast you are. People are already saying that. I mean, obviously everyone's been able to see it from the second row, but now up on the front row, it's a completely different mix.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a different class, and it's going to be a lot tougher. I mean, all those guys pretty much have XC2 titles, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy at all or anything like that, but yeah, I do. I mean, I'm going in there, and like always, I mean, I have a strong mindset, and I want to win, and I want to do good, and I want to be a title contender. It feels good. Um, people talking like that and stuff, and super fast and stuff, and obviously, GNCC is a different breed of just being fast. I mean, you have to put the whole puzzle together, and yeah, like I said, it's not going to be easy, and I know it's no easy road, and there's a lot of people that want to win too, and there's a lot of fast guys. I mean, you got Ben, you got Stu, Thad, um, Jordan just won. Ricky clicked off some wins, and Josh Strang's coming back, and I've probably forgot some people, but yeah, I'm excited about it. It feels good that people are already putting me up there in that position. I feel like I belong up there, and I feel like I work really hard, and I got the speed and stuff. It's just like I said, it's going to be putting the whole puzzle together. It's not just the raw speed. So I'm looking forward to my rookie year. I'm looking forward to learning, and yeah, just I'm excited to get this thing rolling.
That's awesome. Switching over to KTM, do you feel like having that name on your chest, that name on your bike, whatever, do you think that adds any more pressure? Or, I mean, I guess in some ways it could also take away because, I mean, you're under the tent with a former XC1 champion in Ben Kelly, and I know you guys are all down there right now training with Caleb, who's 8-time champ. So have you noticed any different? Like, is there any increased pressure like from switching teams, or is it really just the expectations and the pressure of yourself?
I would say a little of both. I think you know, I would say like I feel like I made it to the elite premier team. That feels good. That was what I always dreamed about, and I still haven't wrapped my head around being on the team. It just feels like I'm going racing another year, and I think I'll realize it sometime. But from that aspect, like yeah, it's awesome. Like I feel like I've kind of made it to the top team, and that feels good. In that aspect, kind of takes some weight off my shoulders, but in the other aspect, I feel like they you chose me to be on the premier team, and I feel like that puts a lot of weight on your shoulders right there. I mean, they're they believe in you, and I don't want to let them down, and I just want to go out there and do the best I can, and perform for them, and just put into the program what they put into the program, and everyone likes to work hard, and they always give you the best shot at winning as you can get. That they got the complete package. They got the training program. They got the guys out in the woods. They got the best equipment, if you ask me. They got the whole package. So it's good. It feels good to be on the team. It feels good to know I'm taking the right steps every day and you know trying to be the best I can be.
Sweet. That's awesome, man. How's the new bike? I know everything kind of changed for the bike, and I mean you're changing manufacturers, kinda, or coming out of the same shop. But that KTM brand new this year. What's it been like getting used to the bike and adapting to the new equipment?
It feels good, honestly. I love the bike. I've adapted to it really quickly, I think. All the geometry is different. Obviously, the frame, swing arm, there's more things different than there are the same. So it definitely feels like a different bike, but it's it's better, man. It's crazy. Every year, every other year, they can think of something to make the bike better, and it's cool. Like I said, they're always working towards success, and yeah, the bike's awesome. Feels good. I think it turns better. The thing's a rocket ship. It's fast. I've been gelling with it really well. Riding good, and I feel good. I feel good. I feel good about it. I don't have any doubts or questions. I think the bike feels really good.
Sweet. Sounds like everything's gearing up to be a pretty dangerous season for everyone lining up out there. But no, it's gonna be cool to see, and it's gonna be awesome to see you up there from the start of the season. And I guess last question here. I don't want to take up a whole bunch of your time, but what's it like? I mean, this is the first preseason or first boot camp getting ready with the growing family. Obviously, you got the kid now and everything. How's that been going with training? And then does that add any pressure to? I guess not pressure, but just I don't know. Does that do anything for your mindset racing, knowing that you got more eyes on you now and more people depending on you?
Yeah, it's been good. Honestly, times are tough. He's a baby and stuff, and he gets unhappy when he's hungry and tired and stuff. But for the most part, when he's up, he's a very happy baby. And my girlfriend Selena does an awesome job, and she lets me sleep at night so I can get my rest. Because I mean, you need rest to train, or else it takes one split second to make the wrong move out there, and we're going 30, 40 miles an hour in between trees. That can go bad really quick.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate. I'm lucky. I get to get sleep, and I get to have a sharp mind for when I'm out training and doing that stuff. And I don't think it adds any pressure, but I think it adds some heart, some more heart to the program, and I just want to go out there and make my son proud and be a good role model for him, and just do all the right things and take all the right steps, and just just be a good role model, like I said. Just someone he can look up to, and someone he can I guess strive to be like. I mean, I only knew my dad for 14 years, but he accomplished so much in that little bit of time, and he was so successful, and I just strive to be half the man he was, and he was an absolute animal, and that's what I would love my son to think about me, and yeah, that's what I'm going for. Just want to make him proud, and be a good father.
Man, that's awesome, and I really appreciate that answer. So the XC1 class seems to be pretty fertile. It's like everyone gets to the XC1 class and all of a sudden has a baby. So you had you had to join that club since you were going to the front row. But it's one of those things like, dude, I don't know that feeling. Like I got a dog and a dirt bike, but I imagine it's got to change your mindset on some things. And I've kind of asked that question to people in the past as they start having families growing and things, and it kind of seems like a cliche answer a lot of times, but with you, man, that had a lot of meaning behind it. So that was cool, and I appreciate your thoughts on that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's just how I think and what I believe. It's just just spitting the truth. We're not sugarcoating nothing.
No, no room for it.
Yes, sir.
But man, I can't wait to get to racing. I know you got a sprint enduro here coming up real quick, and then we'll be GNCC racing before we know it. But man, I'm super pumped for you. Congratulations on everything going on, and I can't wait to watch the season go. And I wish you all the luck this year.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and yeah, I'm excited to get the ball rolling for sure.
Sweet, we'll be down there, man. Thanks again for your time, and we'll catch up here in a little while.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.